Under the quiet moon, where the wind carries whispers of forgotten lands, welcome to Echoes of the East. Tonight, let an ancient tale guide your heart and calm your mind. Long ago, when mountains were still young and rivers had not yet carved their paths into the earth, there lived a woman of extraordinary beauty and mystery. Her name was Dayang Sumbi. She was no ordinary mortal, for her grace rivaled the dawn, and her solitude cloaked her like a gentle mist. Dayang Sumbi dwelled in a humble hut deep within the forest, far from the noise of kingdoms and the ambition of men. She sought peace, yet destiny often finds those who hide from it. One fateful day, as she worked on her weaving loom, the thread slipped from her hand and rolled across the floor. Too tired to retrieve it herself, she spoke aloud. If only someone would bring it back, I would take him as my companion. She thought her words had vanished into the air, but fate had been listening, for it was Tumang, a faithful dog of the forest, who carried the thread to her feet. From that day forward, Tumang was no longer just her loyal companion, but bound to her in ways mysterious and divine. Time passed, and Dayang Sumbi gave birth to a son. She named him strong, spirited, and clever. He grew under the shadow of towering trees and the soft guidance of his mother. What he did not know was the truth of his father's form. As a child, Sangkuriang would hunt with Tumang. They roamed the wilderness, chasing deer through the valleys, learning the rhythm of the earth. But one day fate revealed its cruel hand. When Sangkuriang failed to catch prey for his mother, frustration clouded his heart. In anger, he struck Tumang, never knowing the creature's sacred bond to him. Tumang fell, and the forest seemed to mourn. When Dayang Sumbi discovered what had happened, sorrow weighed heavy upon her. She revealed the truth, that Tumang had been more than a beast, and in her grief, she struck Sangkuriang on the head. The wound left a scar, not only on his brow, but also upon his destiny. Unable to bear the guilt and shame, Sangkuriang left his mother's hut and wandered far, his heart hardened by exile. Years passed, seasons turned, the boy became a man. Sangkuriang returned to the land of his birth, his memories hazy, his scar a faint reminder of a forgotten past. Yet destiny was not finished weaving its threads, for when he came upon Dayang Sumbi once more, time had not aged her beauty. The gods had granted her eternal youth, her face as radiant as when he had last seen her. Neither recognized the other, and Sangkuriang, struck by her beauty, felt his heart consumed by desire. He wished to take her as his wife, but when Dayang Sumbi looked closer, she saw the scar upon his brow. In that moment, the truth struck her with the weight of thunder. This man who stood before her was none other than her son. Horror filled her, but fear of losing her life compelled her to stay silent. She could not reveal the truth. Instead, she sought to delay him with impossible demands. Dayang Sumbi set her condition: if you wish to marry me, build me a great boat and a mighty dam to hold back the waters of the river. Finish them before dawn breaks, and I shall be yours. Sangkuriang, proud and determined, accepted her challenge. He summoned spirits, giants, and unseen forces of the night to aid him. Trees fell, stones shifted, and the land itself trembled under his will. Yet Dayang Sumbi prayed to the heavens, begging that dawn would come early. The gods took pity on her plea, and the faint glow of morning spread across the sky before Sangkuriang could complete his task. In fury, he kicked the unfinished boat with all his strength. The vessel toppled, overturned, and became what we now know as Mount Tangkuban. The mountain shaped like an upturned boat. But this, dear listener, is only the beginning. For within the echoes of this legend lies not just a tale of love and betrayal, but also the eternal struggle between destiny and defiance. The forest where Dayang Sumbi lived grew wild and eternal, its roots older than kings, its canopy veiling the sky like a second heaven. She was a woman of rare beauty, untouched by time, her presence as soft as the morning mist. Yet, within her heart, there lived an ache, the solitude of endless days. One day, as she wove threads upon her loom, her shuttle slipped from her fingers and rolled deep into the undergrowth. Exhaustion weighed upon her. In a whisper, she spoke a vow to the unseen spirits. If one retrieves my shuttle, I will take him as my son. The forest listened, and fate obeyed. From the thicket emerged not a man, but a loyal hound, with eyes that burned like embers of the old world. He carried the shuttle gently in his jaws, laying it at her feet. Dayang Sumbi kept her vow, for a promise made beneath the silent gaze of the gods could not be broken. And so, Tumang became more than a hound. He became her companion, her secret bond, a thread woven between the mortal and the mystical. From this bond came a child, a boy with strength beyond measure and eyes as restless as the rivers. Sangkuriang grew wild as the wind, bold as the fire that dances untamed. He hunted with skill no man could match, guided always by Tumang, his faithful companion. Together they roamed the mountains, where mist clung to the valleys and echoes of spirits whispered through the trees. But youth is often blind to wisdom. One day, when the hunt failed and hunger burned in his veins, Sangkuriang's impatience drove him to a cruel act. In anger, he struck down Tumang, not knowing that the hound was bound to his destiny, not knowing that the blood he spilled was the very blood that bound him to the heavens. He returned to Dayang Sumbi with his prize, believing he had honored her with the gift of meat. But when she saw the truth, when she learned that her beloved Tumang was gone, grief and fury raged within her like a storm unchained. Her curse fell upon Sangkuriang, sharp as lightning across the night. With a blow to his head and words drenched in sorrow, she cast him away, his memory blurred, his fate shattered, and he wandered far into the world, carrying only the scar upon his brow. Time drifted like the slow breath of the mountains. Years passed, and Dayang Sumbi, blessed or cursed with eternal youth, remained as radiant as the day the vow was spoken. Her beauty did not wither, though her heart was bound in silence. Sangkuriang, now a man grown, returned from his wandering. The scar upon his head marked him, but his strength and charm were like a flame drawing moths to their end. By fate's cruel weaving, mother and son met once more, but neither knew the truth. To Sangkuriang, she was a woman of unearthly beauty, untouched by age. To Dayang Sumbi, he was a stranger cloaked in strength and vigor, a hunter whose gaze stirred something long buried. Desire and fate entwined, their hearts drawn together by threads unseen. Yet as they prepared for union, a memory awoke. When Dayang Sumbi touched the scar upon his brow, the truth returned like thunder splitting the sky. Horror filled her veins. The man before her was her own son, the child she had cursed to the winds. Dayang Sumbi's heart tore between love and terror, between fate and blood. She could not reveal the truth, for shame and fear wrapped around her like chains. Yet she could not allow this union to be sealed. She spoke with a voice steady yet trembling. If you wish to wed me, prove your love with a task beyond men. Build me a ship fast enough to cross the heavens, and raise it before the sun touches the sky. Sangkuriang accepted without doubt, for pride burned within him. and strength was his only faith. Through the dark hours, he called upon spirits, upon demons of the mountains, and they answered. The earth shook, rivers swelled, trees fell like grass before the scythe. His hands shaped a vessel as great as a mountain, and the night trembled with the sound of his labor. But Dayang Sumbi watched with dread. She knew he would succeed, for destiny bent to his will. So she prayed to the heavens, whispering to the rising dawn. And as the first light spilled across the earth, she spread her silken cloth to the east, its glow deceiving the spirits into believing the sun had risen. The spirits fled, their power broken by the false dawn. Sangkuriang, seeing the work undone, roared with fury. His hands, once builders, became destroyers. With a single heave, he hurled the unfinished vessel, casting it upon the earth. The ship lay overturned, its vast frame hardening into stone, becoming the mountain that stands to this day. Tangkuban Perahu, the overturned boat. The land bore his rage, and the skies carried his sorrow, echoing through time as a warning to those who defy fate. Dayang Sumbi wept her tears, feeding the rivers, her prayers sealing the wound between man and spirit. Sangkuriang vanished into legend, some say into the forests, others into the mountains themselves. His spirit forever restless, seeking what could never be his. And so the tale endures, whispered beneath the quiet moon, carried by the wind across forgotten lands. A story of love and curse, of destiny and defiance. A story where the mountains themselves remember.